Hello friends, welcome back. If you couldn't tell by the title of this video, it is my bi-monthly wrap-up. So for March and April. For March I read a total of 3 books. March was a very slow month for me. I just couldn't find books that I really wanted to get into. There was nothing really calling my name, so to speak. So the first book that I read for the month of March was Zodiac. And if you guys remember, I did do a full-on read it or unhaul it video to kind of help me get out of that, and this got me out of my reading slump. I absolutely loved the characters in this book. I don't know if the writer was intending for you to hate a certain character and absolutely love another character, but that's just how it played out for me. Ro is your main female character. She's being basically thrust into this role and position that she was not ready to take on. There is an evil entity that is basically trying to destroy all of the planets of the zodiac. Each planet is housed around a certain zodiac, so you have Cancer planet, the Librian planet, and so on and so forth. And throughout this book, you're basically following Ro, Matthias, and a couple of other characters on this quest to kind of inform everyone of this impeding doom that is coming to the planets. But the adventure in this is so well written. It had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. I loved it. If you've not read it, definitely go read it. I believe that I rated this 5 stars, and this is my first 5-star read of the year in total, and it just blew my mind. Loved this book. I cannot wait to continue on with this series. The next book I actually read on my Kindle, and that was Tenderly I Am Devoured. I'm not gonna lie to you, this was an arc read for me. I didn't love it. I enjoyed that. Like, I thought the concept of this book was really interesting, but it was so all over the place that you couldn't really keep up with what was going on. And it was sort of, in a way, like, as you were reading it, it wasn't explained. Like, obviously with some books you get like that major like info dump, right? In series and fantasy, you get a major info dump. There was no info dump on this, which was nice. I enjoyed that fact, but as you continued on the book, I kind of figured that it was going to explain more, and it did, but not in a way that really made sense. It just felt like it kept getting more and more out of line. Like it wasn't coming together in a smooth way. It's so strange. I will say I loved the aesthetic of it because it definitely made me think of dark academia, but I was so lost and so confused on the entirety of it that I couldn't really say that I loved it. So for this book, I think I gave it a between a 2.5 and a 2.75 stars. I wouldn't really recommend this to anyone because I can't really for certain say what it is exactly that I read. It was a good thought, but the execution for the book itself just wasn't there. The next book that I read, I don't have, but you guys see me read it in a full day. It is Broken Flames by M.K. Ahern. I actually really enjoyed this book. This was a book that I read in my full day reading vlog, my distractions versus pages. I actually really enjoyed this. If you're the type of person that loved Avatar: The Last Airbender and you sort of miss that realm and that world, this is a book that is definitely made for people who wanted Katara and Zuko to kind of end up together. In this book, you have these 2 opposing sides. You have the water and fire. They're basically trying to keep war from happening, so she's given up as a bride to the Fire, I'm just gonna say Fire Nation, it's not called Fire Nation, but to the Fire Kingdom. She's basically given up to the Fire Kingdom as a bride for the prince in order to kind of create peace for a time being between the 2 kingdoms. She has been misinformed on a lot of things about him. He's been misinformed about a lot of things on her. I feel like it's a very much a misinformation trope. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say trope, but there's a lot of things that they've been told, that's not really true. And as the book goes on, as it progresses, they become enemies to lovers. And then it leaves on a major cliffhanger, and it's a duology. It's a finished duology, so I'm excited to read the second one and be done with that series. But it's really good. I actually really enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 3-star. I don't even remember what star I gave it. I gave it a 3.5 star. It was a really good book, but definitely if you're just wanting to get back into that realm, then yeah, give it a shot. But it's not something that I would be like, world-shattering book. So definitely enjoyed that. That was all for the month of March. A very, very short stack. However, April was my biggest reading month yet. I read a total of 10 books, which is insane for me. Most of them were audiobooks, but I count audiobooks. The first one that I finished in the month of April was Death by an Author. This was really interesting. It's a sort of literary fiction, reality mixes with fantasy, and you kind of don't even know what's real and what's not real. But it's a story within a story. You're basically following the main character. I cannot say the name for the life of me because I can't remember it. She was a teacher at one point. Things weren't really going well for her. She kind of hit rock bottom where she was at. And instead of giving in to just being at rock bottom, she gave one final ditch effort to write a book that was something that she basically just wrote for herself. Something that she never had written about before, and she put it out there, and it blew up way out of proportion. Like, people absolutely loved the book that she wrote. It's such a good story. It's sort of hard to explain in a way that would keep me from not spoiling it for you. But if you enjoy literary fiction where you get a story within a story, and then at the end of the story it does like a major like flip-flop, then this is definitely the book for you. But it was really interesting to listen to. It was a book that I wouldn't have normally picked up, but because I'm trying to broaden my horizon, it was something that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot. I rated it a 3.5. The next book that I read was Murder by Memory. It's a short sort of sci-fi murder mystery where you're following Dorothy, who is an 80-year-old detective on a ship in like the way off future. Dorothy is woken up and put in a body that is not hers, forced to figure out why the person's body that she's in was killed. For such a short book, there's so much that happens, and the writer covers everything within 120 pages. I don't actually remember what the page count was. The author did a very good job at being able to make it short and sweet, but not so short that you're missing out on a lot of details and not really getting to experience a story. I've read quite a few books where it's like you don't actually get to see like their thought process on it. It's just them somewhat getting the clues and you're not sure how they got it, and then they find out who the person is. This kind of went through like her way of thinking and her thought process to figure out who it was. The author did an amazing job at creating depth within the characters and building a world in such a short amount of pages. So I absolutely love this. If you want like a quick, murder mystery type read that's sci-fi, give this a listen. I'm hoping that this is going to be a series because when you look at it on Goodreads, it says book number 1. So I'm hoping that we definitely get more of Dorothy and her detective. That one I rated 3 stars. The next one I actually listened to. This was a Audible original, and it was called Dragon Day. I had such a fun time with this. I think I was telling my husband about it. I was like, you would absolutely love this book, because the way that I would describe this book is, think of zombie apocalypse, but instead of zombies, it's dragons. And then the way that the book is, it's done in a sort of like interviewing process. So you're following your main character, and she's basically doing interviews with people who were there at the time that the dragons came to destroying the world. It's an interesting listen. So if you have Audible, I believe it's free on Audible. if you have the subscription. So go listen to it for sure, because it's a very fun read. Anyone who likes the movie, what's that movie called? World War Z with Brad Pitt would definitely like this, because it's not zombies, it's dragons. I gave this one a 3.5 star. The next one that I read was The Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. This is the Mead Mishap series. This is book 1. I read this in a day. I could not put this down. It's funny, it's comedic, but there's still fantasy within this. So I feel like a lot of, when you get into the sort of romance and fantasy, the romantasy books, there's a lot of times where the author will either focus more on the fantasy or more on the romance, and there's no sort of in between where you get a good mixture of both. You get a very heavy hand on one or the other. This book had a very good mixture of everything. You had the fantasy, you had the adventure, you had the romance, you had comedy, and the characters themselves are funny. Their names are funny too. So her name is Cinnamon. Her parents own a spice farm where they grow cinnamon, and she has siblings named Chili and Cumin. It's definitely gonna make you laugh and giggle. There are some smut scenes in here, or not smut scene, there are some spice scenes in here, but it's nothing like too graphic. If I had to rate it on a spice scale, I'd have to say like a 3.5. What's cool about this is the plot itself. You get a finalized ending. Like, it ends with them completing their quest. This is definitely one of those books where it's like you could read it in a day, like I did. I gave this a 3.5. I absolutely loved it, enjoyed it, I had fun with it, I was laughing and giggling. I think I stayed up so late that I was extremely exhausted the next day, but I had to keep reading. I couldn't put it down, let's just say that. So I had fun with this. The next book that I read was The Raven Boys. This book, I rated this book 5 stars. I had so much fun with it. It was definitely something that I wasn't expecting. I kind of wish that I had read it when it came out. Paranormal, YA, Welsh mythology, a bit of a mystery. It's so good. There's multiple POVs. There's a lot of twists and turns in it and a lot of things that you don't see coming. Definitely recommend this book if you like paranormal. So it's sort of genred in paranormal romance, but there is like very minimum romance in this. It's like a passing fleeting thought that like comes and goes every now and then. My next one was A Crane Among Wolves. This is a historical, I want to say historical romance fiction. I don't know if that's proper, but it is historical fiction. And fun fact, if you didn't know, I eat up historical fiction. I don't know why. I have just come to love historical fiction. I like learning bits of things about the past in a different way, where it's not like you're not just reading into straight history, but you're reading it in a fun way. So there are a lot of things in this book that are centered around real people. So during the time frame of this book, I think it's 1880, you are in the time when there is basically a tyrant king, and the main male lead is his younger brother, and his younger brother kind of wants to overthrow him because he doesn't like how he's ruling, because he's kind of ruling in a way that's just torturing people, basically, so to speak. Our main female lead is trying to find her sister who was captured by the king to be a concubine for him. They sort of meet in this very strange way. From there, they just come together to form a coup to basically overthrow the king. If you like historical romance, if you like books that are kind of like a K-drama, then I would definitely give this book a read because it was really good. The next book that I read was actually my first manga, and this is Summertime Rendering. This is a horror thriller mystery. I feel like a lot of the books that I'm saying are mysteries. This is a psychological, like, this book messes with your brain because you don't know what's going on, but in a good way. You're basically following this character who's going back home to go to a funeral for his friend. some things happen, then he starts to repeat the same day over again. Sort of like Groundhog Day. And he has to come back and basically save a bunch of people. And he's the only one that has this loop ability. It's just so good. I've already read the second volume of this, and I have the third volume. It's so good. I read both of these last month. It's so good. If you want something that's gonna mess with your mind but also be a quick read and you like manga, give this a shot. If you don't like manga but you do like watching shows, this is also an anime. So if you want to watch it and you have it somewhere that you know it is, definitely go get this a watch or go get this a read. I would prefer to read it because I read it quick. In the second book, you definitely get more answers, but there's still a lot of questions to what the heck is going on. So, loved this. I'm excited to continue on with these. I rated those 4 stars. The next book that I read was Caraval. I had so much fun with this. Oh, I had so much fun with this. I rated this 5 stars. I was shocked, angry. I was all of the emotions and then some. This book made me cry, made me tear up. And I love a book that can make me cry, make me feel that sort of emotion. You follow Scarlett, who has basically wanted to go to this caraval with her sister for years. She's written letters to them saying, hey, would love for you guys to come and perform on our island that we live on. They never write her back until one year they do, and they give her tickets. So her and her sister end up going, and Julian, who is a captain of a ship, brings them to the island. Her sister ends up missing, and her and Julian now are involved in the Caraval game, and they are trying to figure out the clues and the mystery to win the game itself. There are so many plot twists in this. I didn't know what was a part of the game, what was real, and that's the thing. In this book, when you're in the game, you cannot trust, you cannot believe anything. You have to be very wary of who you ask for help, who you have on your side, who's not on your side. And the ending, I mean, it was so good. I did not expect this book to be so good. It left on a bit of a cliffhanger. You could end this book the way, I feel like this book could be a book by itself. Just, it would not technically have to be a series, because it could end with just this book. But there's a bit of it that leads to a point where if you wanted to continue the story, you could. And I believe the next book is about her sister. So, I'm excited to read that. Obviously, I'm on a book buying ban, so I don't have it, but maybe I'll rent it on Libby or something like that. But loved this book. It was so good. The final book that I read for the month of April was The Wild Huntress. This was a lot of fun. This is a book about Welsh mythology. I know, another Welsh mythology. Crazy to throw that in there. You're basically following these 3 main characters who are from different backgrounds. One is a human, one is a prince with magic, and then one is prince born but monster raised. I know, sounds so interesting. They basically join this hunt, basically to win the favor of the other king. So they come together, they're going through this hunt, they're trying to find these rings, and it's just one plot, like one twist and turn after the next. And at the end you go, what in the world happened? What did I read? A total of 13 books, which is crazy, up there in numbers, and I'm definitely proud of myself, especially for last month. Last month was insane. I don't know what it was. I finally got out of my reading slump and I just wanted to read more and more and more. But yeah, that is my wrap up. I hope that you guys had fun. If you enjoy my content, please make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment letting me know that you were here, because it means the world to me to talk to you guys. But until next time, friends. Bye!